What do a speaking coach, a strategy consultant, and a sales strategist have in common? Sounds like the start of a bad joke, right? But honestly, it's all about finding out what people really do in their jobs. The stories, the struggles, the coffee breaks. The real stuff you won't find in a job title.
Welcome to a space where we sit down with people from all kinds of careers, have a laugh, and dive into what makes their work meaningful. Whether you're looking to learn something new or just here for a good story, let us be your guide. I'm Geoff.
And I'm Charlie.
And let's get casually
Pro.
Woo! Today we're here with Karmin Habibi. Karmin is a sales strategist. She's also a former confidence coach. Fun fact, Charlie, you introduced me to Karmin a few months ago, and now I'm the one who's making the introduction.
Wow, crazy how that happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karmin Habibi! Karmin,
Hey.
hello.
Hello. So excited to be here. I was just saying it's a full circle. Wow. Charles introducing me to Geoff. Geoff meeting him in Lisbon and now becoming a good friend. And this is awesome, guys. Love it.
Absolutely. This is one of those things where everyone gets a little lucky in the end, and we all grow together, right? So listen, sales strategist. That is an interesting title. I know salespeople. I am a strategy consultant. How do you go about putting those two of different topics together?
Well, sales is one of those kind of things that I don't know anyone who started out in sales that loves sales. I mean, who loves rejection, right? So it's same with me. When I started out in sales, I just fell into it because my boss at the time told me that I'm really good with people and I should do sales. But like everyone else, I had a big resistance because sales always seemed to me that people are very manipulative, and I didn't want to be a person that is manipulative, or I didn't want to be perceived as someone that is in sales because it had such a negative perception back then. So yeah, I've been over 14 years working in the sales industry. Very quickly, I realized that when I overcame my hurdle on sales, when I overcame this initial fear of rejection, I started to love what sales actually is because I had a different definition around sales. So with your permission, actually, Charles, is it okay to share with the audience of how I define sales? They may not find it in any dictionary, they may not find it in any book, but I think how I started to define sales is how my perception changed around sales. And this is what made me today a sales strategist, helping people to break through that beautiful negative association around sales, but it's really important skill to have in order for them to grow in their career, their personal and their professional life. So is it okay that I'm going to share with you the definition?
Oh, please, we're chomping at the
Yeah.
bit.
Woo.
Hey, let's do it. Okay. So my definition of sales, the initial one was like, I don't like sales. It's like it's all negative association to it. And I broke through it by having my personal definition because I realized when I have a product or service that I believe in, that means I'm also helping and transforming people's lives. And my job as a sales professional is to help and guide people to make the best decision for them. So the moment I realigned or thought about my way that I define sales is when I started to fall in love with sales because I help people to make a decision. The decision is either a yes or a no. It's never a maybe. It's never, oh, I'm going to think about it. It is, I'm helping people to make a decision that is good for them. And this is how I'm creating impact in other people's lives. So after 14 years being in the industry, working in multiple industries, I realized that no matter what industry you're in, no matter if you have a business or a job, you must master the art of selling because if you truly want to help people with your product, your service, or your message, you must master the art of selling.
Wow, that
Wow,
makes so much
that's
sense.
incredibly powerful. Well, I was just thinking because I think there's such a common misconception when it comes to speaking out publicly in any setting, right? Jeff, you can probably talk for hours about how public speaking is not about bragging. It's not about being the most confident person in the room. It's being confident enough to communicate. And the same way that sales is not convincing someone. It's not, having them have an idea that okay, they don't want the product or service. It's they have a problem. You have a solution. You just connect the dots.
That's correct. Yes. So basically, what sells is, I think what I want to leave anyone who's listening here, you're not here by accident. You're listening, first of all, to one of the top rising podcasts. It's so interesting. You guys just started a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to make sure that whoever is listening, you're not here by accident. You're going to learn something by the end of this. It's hopefully going to give you more confidence in your communication. That's my intention by me sharing this. So I'm going to give you some things from my 14 years of experience working as a sales professional. And it's going to help you if you're somebody that is currently in a transition from a job to a business, you're currently seeking, you want to gain more clarity, you're going to want to gain more confidence in your communication. So this session is going to be all about that. I really want to make sure that I add so much value to your audience, Charles and Geoff. So yeah, to add on top of this, so if you are, yeah, again, if you have any negative association around sales, this is the first step that you need to change. But the biggest sale you will ever need to make, anyone, the biggest close, the biggest sale and deal that you ever need to close in your whole life in order for you to close any other deal is selling it to yourself. So this is a big one, and I don't want to be just talking over it. I really want to hope everybody gets this. So in order for you to sell anything to anyone, you must first sell it to yourself. The person with the highest certainty and the person with the highest confidence, it doesn't mean that you need to be the loudest person in the room, the most extroverted, but the person with the highest certainty always wins in any negotiation. And how do you gain certainty? That's the big question. So we can unpack this here. So, yeah.
Wow, Carmen, this is really amazing. So first, you're saying that you're saying, not selling. You're saying, or could we say? Let's start with this. Could we say that you are currently selling us the idea of sales?
Spot on, Geoff.
Could
Yes.
could we? And I'd like to continue with: could we say that a person who's having a job interview is doing sales?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any communication. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even have to be just professionally. Even in your personal life, anytime you're communicating with your friends, you want to, for example, you've got like this amazing restaurant that you want to go and visit, and you have this group of friends. You want to convince your friends. You'll be like, this is the best restaurant that you need to go to. So you're constantly selling without putting the label of sales on it. What is sales? Sales is you are helping and guiding people to make a decision that is best for them. So the decision to visit that restaurant, for example, or the decision for if you go to a job interview, the purpose of you to go to a job interview, the way that you gain the confidence is you also need to make sure, is that job right for me? And the purpose in sales, the best sales professionals, as a matter of fact, speak the least. The best sales professionals are the ones that are asking the best questions. So you as a professional, take away the label of sales. We call it professional. You as a professional, your responsibility is to go into any communication with another person or business to ask qualifying questions to identify, is this actually the right fit? So you going with that confidence to that job interview, not just to get the job, but to ask good question. Is the job actually right for you? Are you the right person for the job? You're not there to impress them. So in selling, there's this fine art. This is actually really deep. We're going straight deep into it. But in selling, there's this fine art. The more you are detached of the outcome, the more likely you are going to win it. You're going to win the deal, win the close, whatever it is. So when you go in with that confidence of knowing who you are, what value you're bringing into that organization that you are applying for, and then your job is to answer their questions with confidence and then ask them good questions to see are they the right fit for you as well. When you come with that confidence and leave that interview having full confidence that if it's for you, it's for you. If not, you're detached of the outcome because you know you're going to get the best job anyways. That's where the power lies in. Now, where most people crumble, I call it the difference between an amateur and a pro. So today we are transitioning from an amateur to a pro. So the amateur would go into a job interview super insecure, wanting to impress the interviewer, so it's very attached to the outcome. That means that if they don't get the job, they get super heartbroken. But a professional would have got other job interviews lined up. They know their value. So the first thing is what you said, Geoff, is sell it to yourself. Like my job here is to sell you the idea to sell it to yourself because this is where you gain the most certainty. And the person with the highest certainty always wins.
Mhm. It's fascinating because all three of us are communications professionals. It's just in different formats, right? And I think about how I connect other people, how I develop communities by those connections. And the one thing that comes to mind is so many people want to be liked. I think being liked is the same thing as having an attachment to that outcome. The outcome is being liked. But the reality is the best way to get someone to like you or to engage with you or to connect with you is to just be curious about them. Ask them questions, get to know them, figure out why they are the way they are by communication with them. And so what you're saying is that sales, much in the same way, is not about the preferred outcome. The preferred outcome, of course, you want to make the sale, but if it doesn't happen, it's not because you are a bad salesperson. It's because it's not the right product. It's not the right service. It doesn't fit, no matter how much you would twist it. And if you twisted it and tried to convince them, even though it's not the right product and service, that's where the bad connotation comes from. That's how you're a bad salesman, is by forcing something that doesn't make sense.
That's correct. Absolutely. And what you said is spot on, Charles, because there is a saying that, especially in sales, is be more interested than interesting. So the more you show presence to someone, the more you show that you care about them, generally care, don't just care about the dollar signs, don't just care about the commissions that you're making, the more you gain the trust of people. And a lot of people have got this wrong perception around sales as well, that it's just transactional, which it can be. Yes, sales is transactional. However, if it's done right, you can do it, long term. You can build true relationships. And as a matter of fact, one of my first businesses, for example, what I did is I really cared about, I love people. I care about my people. I care about the people that I'm serving. So in my old business, I never invested any money in marketing. And what happened is all my clients brought me, without me asking, referrals. They referred me to their friends, to their family. And it just came by me delivering what I promised. As a matter of fact, sometimes over delivering what I promised. And also by me caring about them, by me asking them the right question, and a lot of times as well as a professional, it's not just about grabbing money from people. It is about truly identifying with qualifying questions. Is my product or service the right fit for those people? When you come with this intention, then, business is just growth. So people can sense this. This is an energy that people can't, you can sense it. So what I had is like, yeah, my clients kept referring me, kept bringing me people, and I never had to invest at the time into marketing as a result of it. So if you do it really well, you're playing the long term and you're not just here for quick transactional. It comes down to your brand as well. It reflects on who you are and you're always winning. So one of the most beautiful things about sales, what I love so much, Charles, that I really want to tap into as well, if you really invest your time into learning this beautiful skill set, it it really is a skill set that I believe it doesn't matter what industry you're in. what level you're in, if you're in job, in a business, you must master, because it's not just going to grow your bank account, but it's going to grow you as a person. It's one of the fastest, most efficient personal development tools on the planet. Every day, as a professional, you are faced with rejections, and it's how you respond to those rejections. Are you responding out of fear? Are you shrinking? Or are you responding out of faith and love? Are you expanding as a result of it? And this is why I believe everyone, no matter what level you're in, you should invest into you learning and mastering this beautiful skill set, because it's going to help you in every single area in your life and in your business.
Wow, Carmin, there is so much gold into what you said. I really love the idea of that the relations that you build are not for this transaction that could happen now, but it's really for a lifetime of helping, and that's beautiful. I'd like to go back to the part with the rejection. Since we started this podcast, we talked a lot about rejection. I can relate. And by the way, I can relate as a business owner that sales might be the most important skill that I need to develop in order for my business to be successful, because no sales, no business. Even if you're good at what you do, sales is even more important because that's where you get your customers. And there are a lot of rejections. And yes, it can be hard. And I'd like to have your hints on how to overcome rejections.
Yes, again, it's like the first one that I shared about sales definition. It's how you define things, it's how you're gonna embody them. So, how you define rejection is gonna be how you gonna show up and respond to it. So, I have a very different definition now around rejection. So, usually when people receive rejection, they shrink, which I used to. It exposes my insecurity. It makes me feel like I'm not good enough, or what I have to offer is not so good. So I used to take rejections very personal, but when I realized that rejection is one of the greatest gifts, and the reason why is because I define rejection as an opportunity for me to grow. Rejection for me is feedback. Rejection equals feedback. It is an opportunity for me to explore, first of all, could I have handled this objection better? In a sales scenario, usually there are common patterns of rejection. In every business, you've got usually the same rejections. In general, there are people, I don't have time, I don't have money, or they give you any other excuse because you didn't give them enough information to make a buying decision. They're usually the same patterns. So when you start to realize it, you don't have to take it personal, because it's not you. It is, you have an opportunity to respond in a way where you can handle this objection. So a rejection is a feedback, and it's also an opportunity. It's a gift, because sometimes the person that you're speaking to, you don't have to handle the objection. You just have to realize that you are not speaking to your ideal client. And it's maybe realizing more, am I actually talking to my ideal client? And this comes down to, again, if you invest enough time into the person that you're speaking to at the beginning, connecting with them, qualifying them, asking them the right question, the sale at the end will be very smooth and very easy. But the more, as a rejection is just basically feedback. It's an opportunity for growth. And once you start to redefine what rejections means, that's when you start to receive it different. You don't take it personal. And as a professional, I would challenge anyone that's listening here today to not take rejections personal and to see them as an opportunity of growth. And I believe you guys, because you're very growth driven, I believe you attract a growth driven audience as well. So yeah, it's your greatest gift.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because it is one of the most counterintuitive parts of any sale is you want to get a quick no. Quick no's save everyone time, effort, heartache. Really, everything that comes down to it is if you are not pitching to your ideal customer, then whatever time you're wasting talking to someone who's not going to buy your product or services could have been spent on your ideal customer. And, it's a really interesting thought. And it's something that I struggled with uh, for quite a long time until I actually read a book that was recommended by someone else who was on this podcast. Um, he's a great marketing guy, but it's called The Win Without Pitching Manifesto by Blair Enns. And what he talks about is building creative businesses and why it's important to think as a business person instead of a creative person, especially when developing that business. And the first thing he talks about is get the quick no, because the quick no is the fastest way to a confirmed and solid yes from someone who matters.
Oh, it's spot on. Yes. I'm actually doing right now a challenge with my clients called the One Rejection Away Challenge. You're one rejection away from your yes. So, which is really powerful. This is, you're absolutely right. The quicker you can get to an like no, the closer you are to a yes. So you're spot on. Yeah.
And, with that in mind, right, I want to speak a little bit more to the coaching side, the kind of teaching side, because that must be an incredibly hard pill for people to swallow. How do you go about transitioning their mindset from I have to get a yes. A yes means happiness and well-being for me to no is perfectly fine.
So I'm a very practical person. The thing is, I cannot like just teach you this and tell you and just like it's not about just, learning it from a YouTube or podcast video. No. It's not something, it's something that you have to do practical every day. And this is what I want to leave the audiences as well, because I whatever I teach, I practice as well. And this is what I'm doing with my clients right now. So I live this out every day. And taking it out of work in my day to day, I practice this. For example, every day I send out a message to a friend or a stranger online and I encourage them, which is the first principle: give without receiving anything in return, give without expecting anything. So I just spread the seed out there. Just give good energy. If I want to receive back, I'm just gonna give, give, give. I'm not gonna expect it to come back from the same source. And the same thing happens in sales as well, because you're gonna make all these calls and it will come back, but sometimes it doesn't come back from the same source. So you have to plant the seeds. And yeah, that's the first thing that I teach my clients. So go out and send 3 messages every single day to a stranger or a close friend and just compliment them, genuine compliments. And then what I also do, I take daily gratitude walks. So I do like 20 minutes to 2 hours walks outside every day. And during my walks, I see my power of influence, which means if I walk past anyone, I am smiling and I can have the grumpiest person in front of me, the frowniest person. If I smile enough, they will smile. Very rarely it happens that I pass by someone, if I'm smiling, that they're not smiling back at me. So it's like I embody that every day in my day-to-day life. And then what I push my clients to do sometimes is I ask them to seek rejections, which is every day get one rejection. For example, you can go to a coffee shop and ask them for a free coffee and just see how your body responds and get comfortable with that.
You know what? I love that because, and this is something that I tell everyone I know, to always make the ask, because the worst case scenario is you're in the exact same place you are before you made the ask, right? But the best case scenario is you get a free coffee and you did nothing to earn it, nothing other than just say, "Hey, can I have one?" There are, I think, so many different ways to train yourself to grow into a mindset that is more audacious. But at some point, you need to know when to pull the plug. You need to know when asking is too much or there are too many questions. You have to kind of kill the sale, kill the conversation. How do you go about teaching people when to cut it off?
Yes. So, do you mean when you cut it off? Do you mean when to ask for the sale, or what do you mean?
No, no, no. Okay, so I think most non-professional communicators will try to engage in communication, whether it's connection, sales, public speaking, but at some point it's not viable, right? The sale is becoming that I'm trying to convince you. The connection is okay, we're talking too much and it's getting weird and creepy, right?
Mm.
There are those levels of just going overboard. How do you keep a client from doing that, or train them to do it less and less and less until they're comfortable saying, okay, conversation is over, sale is over, on to the next one.
Yeah, so it goes back again. We have two ears and one mouth for a reason. If you finding yourself that you are talking more than your prospect, then you're not doing the right thing. If you're finding yourself that you're convincing them, you're not in the right thing, you're not doing the right thing. The way I teach with my clients is to have qualifying questions prepared. So have at least 3 to 5 qualifying questions. And if they tick 3 of the 5 questions, then they are your ideal clients. And that's when you can continue to engage. And if they're not, then you are kindly and gently move on. So this is very simple. Yeah, it's straightforward.
I like that
Um,
because it is kind of like a very easy guide of writ to say 3 out of 5, the majority of your questions, that'll work. Geoff, you wanted to say something on this, no?
yes. So first, to go a little bit back, I'd like to rebound on this idea of rejection challenges. It helped me in extremely powerful ways. And fun fact, Carmin, last time we met, you gave me you gave me the task of doing a 100 rejection challenge in 3 months, I think. Like
Wow,
try
that's a
to do
lot.
it even with sales it goes pretty fast. But when I started, it was asking for free coffee, asking for a free train ticket, and those kind of things. And by the way, I asked for special discount at the swimming pool, and I got the children special price. So,
See?
so it works. It can work,
Love
and
it.
it feels amazing when it works. So for all those people out there who are afraid of rejections and hesitate before asking things because they don't know how it will turn out, that's what you should do. No, I'd like to go back to the idea of confidence, Carmen, with everything that we talked already. Is confidence something that comes naturally in sales, or do you had to do some specific actions in order to get this confidence?
Certainly. So I'm a big believer that you don't have to be confident to start something, but you have to start to become confident. And confidence is built on momentum. So I remember one of the when I was at my lowest just like 3 years ago, just 3 years ago, had a very challenging breakup from a relationship with a guy that I thought was going to be my husband. And we did like premarital courses, and it was getting pretty intense. And then just at that time, we just broke up. And I just said, I'm gonna build my confidence straight after, like a week after. I said, no, I went through heartbreaks before. It takes so long to battle them. So in my lowest, I chose to do one of the hardest sales jobs because I knew that's gonna build my confidence. Now, when I started it, I wasn't confident. And this job was street sales. I did the fundraisers that are in the supermarkets in the UK where everybody runs away from them. They ask you for a pound for charity. And I did that for 6 months to build my
Wow.
confidence up again. Yes. And this job was commission only. That means if I don't sell, I don't eat. So I poured my all the energy that was from the heartbreak, the insecurity, I put it into that job. And within a week in that job, I became the top performer for 6 months consistently. So I wasn't confident to start with, but I started to become confident. So just to prove that to anyone who thinks they're not confident to do sales. One of the most beautiful thing I realized, I trained hundreds of professionals to duplicate the success that I had in the street sales, in the phone sales. It's not just, oh, look at me, I'm a unicorn. No, absolutely not. I'm like everyone else. And I believe everybody can learn this. And what I've found is not just this works for me, the people that I trained, I saw super shy people coming into sales jobs that are really harsh and tough conditions, and they get the harshest rejections. Within a short period of time, they become the most confident people. They come in super shy, super insecure, and then they become unstoppable. And then some people, to be honest with you, some people they crumble under this as well. But it's because they are not growth driven. They don't want to learn. They just expect they just have like this salary mindset, like just, but if you're growth minded and you want to become better, it can turn you into a ninja. So yeah.
You know, I say this a lot, and so it comes very naturally. But for me, the most beautiful thing about people is our capacity to change, right? I think there is so much value in understanding that you don't need to be the same person tomorrow that you are right now. And I think those are very extreme examples, right? I don't recommend for most people to just jump into the deep water right away. I mean, if that's your methodology and that's the way that you like to do it, that's perfectly fine. But small and intimate changes can add up over time, and specifically when it comes to things that you want in particular, but you don't have the skill set to attain right then and there, right? I think the most important thing that we kind of gloss over when it comes to communication is that it's a skill, right? At any level, whether it's public speaking, connecting, sales, they're all things that you can teach and that you get better with practice. And with that in mind, I want to talk about what is the most kind of important part for you to start building those small steps towards change when it comes to communication. Is it having that mindset of, okay, rejection isn't bad? Is it having the drive to want to change? What, in your experience, is the number one indicator that, okay, this person isn't where they are or isn't where they want to be right now, but they will be eventually?
I love that. I believe in the power. The first step that I teach my clients is awareness. Without awareness, we cannot change. So the first step is being aware that there must be a change taking place. And I like people to see awareness in terms of mosquito itches, for example. I spend a lot of time in the summer in hot countries, and there was a lot of mosquitoes, and those mosquitoes are super annoying. I did not know that like a tiny thing like this can be
Yeah.
so painful and can give you sleepless nights. So at night, I'm hearing this zzz. In the morning, I wake up with those itches in my skin. And if we don't kill those mosquitoes will be just painful every night, and I will suffer. So I believe if we ignore those itches, you know, what is the side effect of you not mastering communication and being confident? The relationships will suffer. Our bank account, we can complain about not making enough money, but if we're learning how to communicate our value better, everyone is able to make more money if you're in a job or in a business. It doesn't matter because it's just, yeah, it's first of all being aware that there is a challenge, but also knowing that you have the opportunity to create a change by learning this beautiful skill that everybody can learn. And when you learn it, I always say sales is one of those things that it's a skill set you learn once and you earn for life. So invest the time, invest the kill those mosquitoes, kill those itches by going through this uncomfortableness at the beginning. Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to be very honest with your whole audience. I've been doing sales for 14 years, and 14 years later, I still don't feel good getting rejections. I think you just have to come into acceptance that rejections will always feel horrible. So don't expect rejections going to feel, no, it will never feel good. So just come into acceptance with it.
I relate so much with the public speaking. You know, I'm a public speaking coach, and there are so many things that overlap. And one of the things I tell my clients is don't expect to feel comfortable before the great moments before you go on stage. There will always be some anxiety if it's important and you cannot get rid of it. It's just part of the game. I wonder how far we can put this analogy. You know, you learn public speaking by facing your fears. So it's the core of my methodology is whatever you fear, you have to do it. It's on your path, because if you want to be free, you need to be over it. And at the end of the day, once you broke into past all those fears, you can be completely yourself. You can be in the moment with the people and talking as you really are with them. I wonder if it's the same once you get a mastery of sales.
Yeah.
Do you get over the script and just talk naturally in the moment with the person you are?
100%. And this is the same like you said, like in public speaking. I always say, if I'm too much focused about me and me trying to impress, then I'm never able to close the sale. But I'm always thinking with a mindset, what is in it for them? So the more I'm thinking about the person that I'm communicating with, and the more I'm genuinely there to add value to them and to identify, is this the right fit for them? And I'm detached from the outcome because I'm so confident that I am here to serve them, the more I'm confident I am. So yes, just being detached from the outcome. But there's a level of okay, since we've been so honest here, I'm gonna give you another honesty of mine. And if you really want to be a pro, okay, allow yourself to be the Lulu. So let me explain.
What?
Oh yeah.
Be
Oh
the
yeah, she's right.
Lulu. Yes. So I just found the most successful people. And I've worked in a personal development industry where I was exposed to very high level successful people around me. And I've adapted some of their patterns. And one of the big ones that they have is they are the Lulu. So every sales conversation that I go in, I am so delulu in believing they are my customer. Everybody I speak to, in my head, I already closed the sale. So but then when I go into it, I'm delulu enough to believe that I'm so confident to close the sale, but at the same time, I'm detached from the outcome. It's like having those both. I know this is very high level and I don't have much time to go so deep into it, but just this two, if you can master this two together, you will be unstoppable.
What does it mean, the Lulu? What does it
Delusional,
mean?
like the thinking that everybody is your customer.
Oh,
Just be delulu, be delusional. Like, yeah, everybody is my customer. Genuinely, like everybody I speak to, be delulu enough that to you to think that you are of high value. You are, a confident person. The way that you perceive yourself is the way that others will perceive you. Everything counts. How your posture is, how you're speaking, before you even open your mouth, people make a decision on you in the first second. And right now, people's attention span is much shorter, so much less than that. So your energy, your certainty introduces you before you do. So if you go with that delulu, you will gain some confidence. So this is just, yeah, I'm just being very honest with you guys of what I've been observing and what I see makes you a professional closer.
Well, you know what? It's so funny that you mentioned that because I keep thinking about my greatest exploits of networking, right? The time that I walk into a room and I own it. I know
wow.
everyone ends up knowing me. We're going out for drinks right after. I just got invited to someone's wedding that I literally just met right then and there. And it's not because I am particularly skilled at just immediately picking people up, but I go in with the idea that everyone is going to be my friend. And if they're not my friend, then it's because they're horrible people anyways. And is that like a bad mindset to have? I think to start, absolutely, 100%. If you're just now picking up the skill, that is a recipe for disaster. But once you have the toolkit, you should run with it. You should always be having fun with the type of communication you do. And I think it's one set of skills, three different ways here on this podcast, but everyone can kind of have that moment where they're like, I just went into a trance and I was someone else entirely, and then now I'm back to normal.
Yes, certainly. I mean, the it's just it comes back down to awareness again, right? So um, just observe your own thoughts every time, something happened to you. Where do you lean towards first? Do you lean towards criticizing yourself, or do you lean towards, I'm going to use this as an opportunity for growth and for change, and I'm going to become better from this? So, and I do this exercise with my clients as well. It's called the vision statement. And the vision statement is I make them write down for 7 days straight away, every day, a vision statement of themselves, of how they see themselves. So it can start with their first name. For example, the Carmen that I see is somebody who is confident, who communicates with conviction, who has got beautiful relationships. Her business is growing. I write it in a third person. So the more it's like, see yourself from outside and see yourself in the best version of yourself. And the more you are writing this, the more you can see it, the more you actually become it and embody this. And that certainty leads you in every room. So when you are in those rooms, you will feel like you belong there rather than you don't belong there, because your vision, you wrote it down. You've seen it before.
And you know what's so cool about that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because this ties into something that we talked about earlier, is that when you lead with generosity, whether it's any of these forms of communication, sometimes you are not mentally capable to remind yourself that you are the best, you are awesome at what you do. But out of the woodwork comes someone who you've given to, and they know you, they recognize that you are incredibly capable at what you're doing, and they will tell you in your lowest moments when you are not able to, that you're awesome. I think of the amount of times that I'm on a call with someone, and it's a group call, or we're networking, and I turn and I say, that person right there is an incredible marketer, an incredible attorney, an incredible, and it comes out naturally because we've built that level of relationship. They don't need to speak for themselves, they have other people to do it for them. It's a wonderful kind of self-fulfilling prophecy that you are creating the positive energy in others to give back to you, to give back to them, so on and so forth. When you create these really deep and impactful relationships, it helps you be incredibly delusional later down the line, because everyone is singing your praises. But you're also a positive person at that point too, so you're helping them. I don't think there's a moment where you lose by helping someone and then receiving that help in return.
Oh, you
I mean,
spot on, Charles. I love this. This is 100% what I believe in as well. And yeah, you're right. I would also challenge people to, if you don't feel it, if you don't feel confident, or if you don't feel encouraged, give it. Give someone a compliment. And like, so even financially, like if you're right now not in a good financial place, or like it's in every aspect. Like I found, even if I have just a few pounds, a few dollars, whatever it is, give it first before you receive it. It's just like it will change you, and you're absolutely right. So if you don't if you don't feel encouraged right now, give encouragement. If you don't feel confident right now, make someone else feel good about themselves, and it completely transforms your day. Yeah.
I think this echoes a past episode where we talked about this idea of giving, not just because you want to be someone who's nice, but even just very egoistically because when you give, you feel good.
I mean,
And I can, and it works very well. And the difference that you have in your behaviors when you feel down versus when you feel great about yourself, what you do is so enormous that it's even if you're the most egoistic person of the planet, this might be the best investment you can do.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking in my head, how does that apply to public speaking? Because you don't give so much in the conventional sense, but you do. Geoff, every time I see you speak, you start with a ton of energy,
Mm.
and you are that is a donation of interest, of
Oh,
intrigue, of
it, it is completely, and usually that's one of the objection that you have from people. They're like, who am I to do as if I'm extraordinary? This is something that's often the case. It's like, I mean, who I am. I to pretend I'm so great, I'm so amazing. But that's completely egoistic because you don't do this for yourself. You do it for the audience. And when you're in the audience and you watch someone who's extraordinary, who's really standing out and doing crazy things, you love it in the audience. It warms you up, it inspires you. And so you give as a public speaker. And in fact, most of the anxiety that people have when they speak is because they think or they try to control how they're perceived by other people. They think it's about
mhm.
them. But there are a lot more others than yourself when you speak in front of an audience. That's why it's called public speaking, because you have more people who are listening rather than people who are speaking. And if you focus on other people, and if you think, how can I make them have a great time? How can I make them learn something? Most of the time, it makes the experience a lot less anxious and people appreciate more. So this is a mindset switch that you can use. So yeah, completely, Charles.
And you know what? I'm really curious because there's something that I'll talk about right after I get an answer from you two. But when I think about how to motivate myself to do that, to be someone more than I feel at that moment, is it supportive or is it I can't think of a better way to say it, borderline threatening? I, I promise I'll explain in a second. But when you think about yourself, are you saying, no, I really am an incredible communicator, an incredible speaker, an incredible salesperson? Or are you saying, who are you not to use the skills that you've spent so much time crafting, not using them to your fullest extent? Are you dumb? Are you like not trying to give it your all on purpose?
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
It
Mhm.
do you find yourself more like comforting yourself or pushing yourself?
Hmm.
That's so good. Can I give my honest answer with this?
Please.
Like honest. I was battling with this as well because I was like, am I? sounding arrogant? I don't want to be arrogant. Or is this a false confidence? But I realized in my building my confidence journey, um, it all comes down to how do I perceive myself? From who do I perceive myself? So this may not resonate with everybody, but you can put it in something else. So for me, it is faith. Faith is a very big high value for me, right? Believing in God. And it's like God created me. It's I don't see myself from my own eyes. I see myself from the eyes of the creator. And I'm thinking if the creator he created me, he created something good. He doesn't want me to, you know, bring myself down and like talk bad about myself. I just see it, a lot of people would watch this and their parents, right? And they would see their children, you know, beating themselves down. And they're like, but you're so wonderful. And even if they fail,
Hmm.
they see them as someone wonderful. And I think sometimes it's important, you know, if we see ourselves with our own eyes, we can struggle, we can feel insecure. But if we see ourselves with the eyes of the creator of God, or if you have a good relationship with your parents, you know that your parents love you, or if a good friend, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, if you have a good relationship with a friend and they love you unconditionally, just seeing yourself from the eyes of somebody that loves you unconditionally, that means even if you are an imperfect human, which we all are, in their eyes, you are perfect. And just see yourself accepted from their perception. That's helped me a lot. See myself from the eyes of the creator. That's very
Wow,
deep.
that is
It's very deep.
it's very powerful, right? My story kind of seems stupid in comparison, but I promised I would tell you. And I'm kind of upset that I didn't bring it up with the our colleague Gurjinder, who is a great marketing guy. But my most favorite piece of marketing ever was a Sony PlayStation commercial. And it's very strangely put because it's a guy in a maroon suit sitting in a wrecked car, and he's playing with string, and he turns to the camera and he says, "Who are you not to be great?" And then he goes on a tirade of all these things that you, the viewer, have, like the imagination of a god, the strength of a hero, so on and so forth. And it's, for me, a comforting thought, not just to be kind to myself, because I think being kind to yourself can be uh, somewhat limiting. You have to be at times strict with yourself. And part of that is saying, you've worked so hard to get to where you are. Why are you letting it slip in this one moment, in this one instance, in this, when you've developed all these skills from nothing? Who are you not to be great? And it was so powerful to me that for years I looked for a similar suit in color and cut to his. And I think 5 years ago, I finally found it. And in times where I feel like I really, really need an extra level of protection, of armor, I sewed inside of it, or I had it stitched inside of it. Who are you not to be great?
I
And
love
I
this,
wear it.
Charles. Oh,
Yeah. So if you ever see me in a maroon suit, just know I'm out for blood.
I love it.
But yeah, I think it's really important that we continually tell ourselves that, whether it's pushing or supporting or carrying around totems like my suit, that you have reminders of how hard you worked to get to where you are.
Mhm.
And communication is one of those very nebulous things that you can't put on a chart. You can try as many times as you want, right? You can do it through your sales numbers, or how many people are in your network, or how many people are clapping at the end of your speech. But at the end of the day, it's something that's not quite quantifiable in level of anything other than your own human intuition. And I think as long as you are supporting yourself in the pursuit of growing and recognizing your growth through that intuition, whatever you do to get there kind of doesn't matter, right? Be Machiavellian. The end justifies the means. If you need to pretend you're jumping into cold water or wear a suit or tell yourself that that nervousness is energy, all of those things help make you a better person. Wow, that
Mic
got
drop.
really deep really fast.
Mic drop. That was, oh, that needs a whole nother section in itself. That is so good.
but but you know what? It's so cool because when you get three people who are super passionate about what they love, and it just so happens that it's all the same skill set, just packaged differently,
Yeah.
you really get to appreciate everyone, right?
That's true.
I I'm going to look at sales differently now because I know that you are doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, maybe in a different way, but it's the same meat and potatoes in there. And Geoff, I've always respected for his work in public speaking, but I'm also going to think now about, okay, maybe I should go to a Toastmasters meeting. Maybe I should figure out how to be more precise with that level of communication or that packaging of communication. And kind of just to put a bow on this, because the reason that we started this entire podcast is because we wanted other people to feel inspired and be able to have something with them that they can take from a career path that they might not follow or they might not have experience with. So, Karmin, if there's someone out there that needed one skill from sales, one thing to take them from 0 to 1, what skill would that be?
Get comfortable with rejections. So get into the rejection challenge. So obviously the skill set is sales. So invest into your something. Selling is something now that's so accessible. You can learn, you can watch YouTube videos, and it no matter how much you try to learn it in books or even like hire coaches or consultants like me, at the end of the day, you have to do it. It's not something that you just listen to other people, it's something that you have to practically do. So it's just every day, get out there and see yourself in the highest form version of yourself and go for that rejection. Don't go for the yes, go for the rejection and be comfortable that be able to respond to the rejection. Take a deep breath when you receive a rejection and then use it as an opportunity for feedback. Ask actually the person that rejected you, thank you, give them a thanks. Thank you so much. May I ask you, how can I serve you better? How could I have done this better? How can I improve? So it's the person that you rejects you or the job that rejects you. I would ask them, let them give you feedback because that's an opportunity for you to grow. So I would say, of course, invest into learning and mastering the art of selling, but also go for the rejection. Every yes, every no gets you closer to a yes.
Beautiful. Carmen, what I love about your approach is its consistency. You started by giving us your definition of sales, guiding people to make the best decision for them. And if you get a no, maybe it just means that the no is the best decision for them right now. And so you achieved what you wanted to achieve. You guided them to make the best decision. And there is no way you could have known if it were a yes or a no before you asked. And if you want to help people in life, if you want to have influence, you need to have their buy-ins. So you need to know if they need your help or not. If you want to help other people, you need to face rejection. That's what's on the path. Carmen, I know would like to ask you our special question that we ask all of our guests. You now have 2 minutes, and I will give you a magic microphone. that gives you access to absolutely everyone that is present on Earth today, but also everyone who's not even born yet. They will have the opportunity to hear your 2 minutes. What would you like to share with them?
Wow. Okay. That's a big one. I have many things to share, but the most common one that is right now in front of my mind is you're one decision away from a completely different life. You're one decision away from a completely different relationship. You're one decision away from a completely different income bracket, financial resources, opportunities, people, everything. And that decision every day, every moment, we are faced actually with two options and one decision. And that option is either operating out of fear or operating out of faith. I call it faith, and some people can call it love. So whichever decision you make from those two options is going to determine your life. So I would encourage people, make faith-based decisions, make decisions based on love. You can feel the fear as you're making the decision based on faith. So it doesn't mean that you won't feel the fear. It is feeling the fear and doing it anyways. I think there's a book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways, or something like that. But yeah, so I would just say you're one decision away from a completely different business and life. And usually the decision, if you don't have resistance towards it, it may not be that important. The bigger the dream, the bigger the resistance. And the more you may feel it's too big for you, the more faith you need. So just go for it. And I'm a testimony of it because just recently, 5 months ago, I quit my job as a top performer in one of the largest energy firms in the UK. And I just decided, as a top performer, I was crying my eyes in the toilet because I knew I wasn't living my life to the fullest. I knew that I was contained and I was just making decision based on fear. And I realized that if I'm the top performer, if people want to be in my positions, making the money that I'm earning and I'm crying in the toilet, something is wrong. So I made a radical decision to quit my job, to live out my dream that I always wanted, which is location independent, travel all around the world, building communities, and start my sales training business. And when I started, a lot of people told me I'm crazy because obviously, how can I leave a well-paid job to go into uncertainty? But within a couple of weeks, it became very successful. I've now got paying clients. I am traveling all around the world. And the last year, I've been on over 20 planes. Right now, I'm in London. Last week, I was in Morocco. Next week, I'm in Dubai. So life is good.
Wow, Carmen, this is so inspiring. If there's no fear, there's no growth. And we can use fear as a compass to know what are the direction of the biggest growth. And it's exactly what I try to live up to, which is very scary, but that's the path that I chose, and I really would encourage everyone to make the same choice, because I realized that all the meaning that I have in my life were hiding past fears. So yeah, it also this decision also completely transformed my life from a very shy software engineer to a crazy a crazy public speaking coach. So it worked on us too, on you, it worked on me, and it worked on many people that I already met who are doing incredible things with their life. If you listen to this, I hope you're inspired by the story of Karmin. I hope you know which skill, if you learn it today, can help you your whole life, you as well as other people. You can rate us on your favorite podcast platform. You can like this episode on YouTube if that's the one you're using. It would help us a lot to be known by more people and have more impact. Karmin,
Share with friends.
share it with friends. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a good one. Karmin, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love this. I felt like I'm having, as usual, a chat with friends, which you guys are.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.